My name is Tina, and I'm an intuitive tarot reader. And so I'm just bringing some morning messages today. Happy Super Bowl Sunday, right? My messages are good anytime that you watch them. They're timeless. I don't think Spirit knows, the same kind of timeline that we do. So I kind of feel like this about videos. No matter who it is you're watching, I feel like whenever you see it, that's the day you're supposed to see it. So here's what this reading is about. I pulled cards before I even turned this on, just so I could see where everybody's at. And it looks like we're all in like this healing place. Like the first card I pulled out was number 2 in the color deck, and it's called Red. And it's called Free Yourself from Pain, right? And it's talking about like a red sword, using this red sword and what it might do, right? Red contains unlimited energy, vitality, and power, and draws money and prosperity into your life. It is a powerful agent for healing blood disorders, improving circulation, healing diseases, drying up sores or wounds, warming cold areas of your body, and reducing pain. And because red releases adrenaline to stimulate mental and physical energy, red can relieve depression. So imagine yourself having a red sword of light. At the tip of the sword, there is a red star, which has incredible healing power. When the star touches anything sick, it dissolves the sickness right out of your body. Visualize touching different parts of your body that need healing with the red sword and say, Divine Intelligence, move your healing light through my mind and body so I can return to a state of vibrant health. I just wanted to share that with you because when I read it, I was like, ugh. And then I pulled more cards. This one's out of the Tarot of the Heart card. And the first card out was the Emperor. It says lead on it. It seems to me like you're getting us some new information requiring you to move forward, to take charge somehow, to be a leader. This card shows clearly someone kind of staying in the back of their life, right, for a long time. But then they get this scroll of knowledge and they step forward into the light, into the leadership role of their own life, right? What are you thinking about? What are you trying to lead about, right? It's the Nine of Wands. Rest and reconsider. Nine of Wands is about being hurt a lot in your life. It's about having many, many pains in your life. And sometimes when we have this kind of energy, we could feel like a victim. We could feel broken. We could feel sick. And this card is about kind of like telling a new story, reframing it, looking at it from a different position, right? I feel like this could have something to do with inner child wounding, just because of the way this card looks. Like, look at how tiny that shadow is that he's casting, right? It's small. Saying like maybe he's rethinking his childhood from his soul's perspective. Maybe he's looking at it and feeling like, yeah, it really was painful. To be honest, it was very painful. But the thing is, it doesn't have to hurt you for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Because you can look at it from your soul's perspective and it looks completely different. I feel like that's what's going on with this red sword. Like, I feel like you're looking at your past and you're talking to your higher self. I think what you're realizing is something about self-doubt, like you have a lot of self-doubt for some reason, and it goes all the way back to childhood, right? And this emperor energy is saying like, you are the light, you are the leader. It's time for you to speak your truth, speak it out, right? So I feel like we're being called. I feel like there is a kind of like a fork in the road, so to speak, here. Like, what way do you want to go? There's two sets of stairs, and then there's the sun right in the middle. You know, I don't know which way to go. I really don't. But I feel like you do. And especially once you're like diving into this kind of energy, you know, childhood wounds, what it did to you. Okay, so I feel like maybe for a while you've been feeling like it made you small, you know, like you weren't, maybe at home, you, when you were a child, you weren't encouraged to speak up. Maybe they didn't care what you had to say, you know, like you're just a kid. We don't care what you think. And I think that happened to quite a few people, you know what I mean? But Spirit is saying like, no, you're born to be a leader, and in order to be a leader you have to go through a lot of trials. Otherwise, like, you come here and everything's cushy, how are you ever going to lead if you've never even been through anything, if you've never learned anything but cushy? You know, how are you going to learn it? How are you going to be the leader that you need to be? It's by processing and reprocessing what happened and coming to the realization that it gave you leadership skills eventually. You know what I mean? So I think I'm gonna use this deck and see if I can get like, you know, a little bit clearer messages about, tell me about this Nine of Wands. Okay, this is what you're changing. You are. And it could be unexpected when this happens, like, because the Tower is here, right? So I feel like you're seeing something different and you're alchemizing it. I feel like it's about love. It's about loving yourself. It's about realizing what you've been through and how powerful it has made you in your life. You could be tapping into ancestors that are helping you. You might feel love from strange places, distant. You don't know why you feel it, but you feel it. This would be your spirit team, you know, working for you, working in your behalf. I forgot to put this on chat. Maybe there is no chat, right? Okay, so let's check on this. This is the Moon card, and it's about confronting your shadow, confronting that little kid, confronting the problems you went through, and like, tell me what's happening here, Spirit. This could be happening anytime because of the way the moon looks. You know what I mean? Like, it's just tiny, a tiny crescent. And honestly, we just had the new moon, so it would be just almost like that, right? I feel like one of the things that your childhood gave you is vulnerability, you know, compassion, like seeing it from your own little child's eyes. You know what I mean? The way it made you feel. It kind of like, for one thing, it made you never ever treat someone small, right? That's one of the gifts, I feel like. Yeah. And then when it talks about letting go of self-doubt, it's about this one, right? It's about feeling like you're not enough. And I feel like that's something that you went through as a child. You know, like, even if it was just someone saying like, we don't care what you think, you're 5, you're 7, you're 9. You know what I mean? When you hear that enough, you stop talking. And it makes you feel doubtful about what you even have to say, how your mind works, what you're thinking. You know, like, it's crazy how much all that little kid stuff really affects us forever. Yeah. It makes you feel lack. It makes you feel like you're suffering. It kind of puts you in this, like, victim mentality, like the 9, right? I feel like something's changing here, you know? I feel like you're ready to let go of this toxic pattern. I feel like you're figuring it out in this Nine of Wands because you're resting and you're reconsidering your life. You're thinking about it. It's probably your higher self. It's your angels. It's your guides. It's, right? What the toxic pattern that you're letting go of is this deception. Because whatever it is that you've been telling yourself since childhood, like, I'm not enough. Nothing I matter says, my thoughts don't work right. I am stupid. Whatever it is, right? It was a lie. And I think you're just like, as you confront this past stuff, I feel like you're letting go of the self-doubt. You're understanding your own life and your own who you are. This is all happening in divine timing, which can have everything to do with the Wheel of Fortune. You know what I mean? So it's just time right now for you to like reprocess how you've been feeling about yourself. You know, what your fears are, what your limitations seem to be. You're reframing. You are, because Spirit is saying like, it's time for you to be a leader, you know? And I feel like you have a little confusion here, but I'm going to ask, what are you leading? Okay, so actually being this leader might trigger you, right? It might trigger something inside of you. And that might actually be, you know, what gets you to start thinking. Because I kind of feel like, you know, Spirit is like giving you messages like in your intuition and saying like, you're a leader. Step up and take the lead. It's time. You got to go this way. And it triggers you because you start thinking about all this stuff. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not. Hello, Ms. Rack. How's it going? You know, it triggers this conflict inside of you. So tell me what's happening next, because I feel like you're going to be shown that you're the damn light. How are you going to show them that they're the light, Spirit? What's coming in? Wish fulfillment and forming a new foundation. So even though this leadership role scares you, it's actually the thing that's going to make you have a solid foundation within yourself. You know, so I don't know if this is like, you know, getting a promotion at work or what, but it's being a leader somehow. Like, are you going to open up your new own business? Maybe it's something that you've been working on for a long time. Tell me about this helpless and hopeless card, because I feel like on the one hand, you're being called to step up. And on the other hand, you're sort of thinking about when you were a kid, you know, and you're like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm smart enough. I don't know if I'm enough to take any of these paths, right? So here comes the self-care card, and that's kind of like the ticket, you know, like start really spending your energy on loving yourself, that little person that's so hurt. You know what I mean? The one that feels unheard, the one that feels broken, you know? What are you doing to like hang out with that little kid of yours? You know what I mean? This is about self-care. This is about loving all those pieces, especially the little one, right? Because that's the one who's carrying this pain around and it's stopping you from growing all the way to your full potential. You know what I mean? So let's see what else is coming out here. Yeah, this is memories. It is. It's your childhood. And that's what you're thinking about. Maybe some of you don't even have the ability to care for yourself yet. You know what I mean? But I do feel like there's this healing energy. And don't forget about the first card and the red sword and like doing that kind of healing on yourself, because it's possible. I just feel like our soul self is so powerful. We just don't even know it's there sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you guys, thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for subscribing, liking, sharing, all that. And welcome. Hello. All right. you're thinking about over here, where you feel helpless and hopeless. I really think this is how you felt as a child. Okay, so it says that you're going to get clarity here. Your third eye is opening, right? So that you're going to see something differently. I feel like you have a new beginning. It could be a really cool idea, but whatever it is, I feel like it's giving you strength and it's giving you power. And I kind of feel like maybe it's even saying like focus on what you have, focus on the strength that you have, you know. And sometimes, like, shit, you know, if you were raised like that, maybe you don't even understand that you have strength. But what this card is saying to me is that your life of this that's making you feel all this kind of way, that's where you got your strength. That's where you got your empowerment. That's where you got your leadership abilities. It's because you have been at the, you know, in the dark side of life. And we can't really teach something that we haven't already gone through. So think about the things that you've gone through, the lessons that you've learned, the things that it gave you, right? Morning, Dan. Okay. Do you have any, self-worth? So it's kind of about that. Like you're ending this old shit cycle, this toxic one, because I feel like whatever you learned when you were a child, like there's quite a bit of it that just wasn't even true. You know what I mean? And I think that's the cycle that you're ending, is this belief that you have about yourself. The Wheel of Fortune is here. So it is time for you to like step up, love yourself, reframe these memories, and like understand what they actually gave you. Because I feel like once you really understand that, I mean, you can let go of a lot of stuff when you understand what your past gave you. Like one thing, it gave you vulnerability, right? That's one thing. I think it gives you really big leadership skills too, because you've worked through so many things, so many toxic things, right? So I feel like you're letting go of this toxic cycle, realizing that everything that, maybe not everything, but the way you've thought about yourself growing up, today, last week, a year ago, you know, I feel like it's changing. And I do feel like there's something here about loving yourself. There's quite a bit of cards over here about it. Loving that small child inside of you, connecting in with your higher self. Third eye is here. So this would be about receiving messages, you know, from your higher self, like focus on the sun. What about this great idea? Like it does talk about new ideas. So I'm talking about a new idea, like fire energy. So it could be like doing something that you love, something that you've always loved since you were little. Like it could be that kind of thing, and like really like doing that again. Because what I'm saying to you is like this little child is hurting still, you know, no matter how old you are. There's this piece of you that still feels a little bit lacking. But this is not how your soul expected it to be forever. Like, yeah, you had to learn some stuff, right? But now it's time for you to step up, walk toward what you love, walk toward your wish fulfillment. So what does that look like for you? You know, maybe you don't even know at this point, but I kind of feel like if you'd start working on this, well, connecting into your higher self, really, you know. I've been watching a lot of Eckhart Tolle, and I just love that guy. Man, he's got a lot of really good information about, you know, being with your own self, being in the present moment, like just enjoying where you're at, what you're doing, and who you are, just quietly. And I love that because I don't think I've ever been taught that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think my mind just goes and goes and goes. So to actually sit and just be present is difficult, but at the same time, that is how we connect with our higher self, you know? So don't forget that you are very special to spirit and to this whole scheme of life, right? You have a big role as the emperor, a big one. So I don't know if you're going to be teaching how to get through this, kind of like Eckhart Tolle, right? Like this could even be like his story, even in a way, because like he is definitely a leader. But you know, he didn't start out a leader. He started out very depressed, hating his life. He talked to spirit, he had an awakening, and he looks at life differently now. You know, he does. Even all the past stuff that happened, he's like, I get it. I totally get it. So I kind of feel like maybe that's what you're understanding. You're letting go of self-doubt. Your intuition is like saying, I love you, man. Well, I know we've been through a lot, but it's time for us to like step up. You need to know that you're the light, you know? And the sad part is a lot of times while we're growing up, we just see ourselves as, I don't know, in the way or the troublesome one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody has ever made it through childhood without. Hi, Lockie. Nice to see you, Dan. I don't even know what you're talking about. So, anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing. And I hope this message reaches somebody that needs it today. Hope you be really good to yourself, love yourself, take care of yourself, and reach into that little child inside of yourself and love on it. Let it know that it's safe and that it was perfect just as it is and it went through a lot, but you're appreciative for the lessons, you know? That's how I see this whole reading. It's time for you to heal your own self. So I hope that helped. I hope you have a great day. And I love you guys.